Hello there, Libras. Welcome to your reading. Um, I had an image for you when I was shuffling out the cards, so let me just relay what I saw. So I'm seeing this woman, and she's walking in a garden with a child, a little girl, like 4 or 5 years old. It's a really beautiful garden. There were all kinds of flowers. I'm seeing like daisies, tulips, and just it's really beautiful. The woman's about 30, and this seems to me like it's her child, and she has a basket. The little girl has a basket, and she's picking flowers as she goes. And she's what really stood out to me was she was picking the flower, like, at the stem, so that she could, arrange them when she gets home. And the little girl was picking the flower right at the, I don't even know the technical term, but she's not picking the stem. She's picking it right where the flower is. So then if you were to get home and you arrange it, you couldn't put it in a vase. You couldn't, it wouldn't be able to absorb water. So I hope that makes sense. And so the little girl keeps doing that in putting them in her basket. And while the older woman is keeps picking the flowers, and the little girl is like trying to get the older woman's attention, which I presume to be you. And I feel like you're there physically. You're going through the motions, putting the flowers in the basket and picking the pretty flowers. But it seems like your thoughts are preoccupied elsewhere. It's almost like you're in a trance, just walking through this really beautiful garden, and you're not really aware of what she's doing, the little girl's doing, and it's like you're very much lost in your thoughts. So when I saw this, especially when it comes to, imagery with children, it usually tells us that there is somebody in your life that you have to, give your utmost attention to, okay? This is somebody that relies on you. This is somebody that needs to be told how to behave, what to do, how to do things the correct way. And this is also indicative of, responsibilities as well that we have to take care of. So whatever it is that you guys are dealing with or going through, and I'm not going to downplay, the emotional distance that I feel happening here. There's a sense of just going through the motion, not really feeling inspired or being very emotionally present in the activity that you're doing. You're just going through the motions, and other people around you are asking for guidance, or asking for your attention, or wanting to share an experience with you, but I feel like you're not emotionally available. So that's the sense that I got. And I just feel like, it is going to be quite a busy week for you. And what I do sense, especially as it relates to children, household chores, somebody needing, possibly the kids, if you have, children. I feel like they need help with something very technical. It could be homework. It could be, how to write a report. And I feel like younger children, like under the age of 15, who are still, very wobbly when it comes to their academics. And I feel like they either need a tutor, they need technical information as to how to do something, or they might be a little bit struggling in the school front, and they might need some type of assistance, and they're reaching out to somebody. So, if that's your case, just make sure that you're making the time to make sure you check their homework, to make sure that they're doing the work that they're supposed to. And for those of you who are in school right now, I almost feel like you feel like you're not getting the support from your mentors, from your teachers, from your professors. We are moving away from the holiday season, so that might be the reason why you're emailing them. You're needing something, you're needing some guidance. And if you feel like they've been MIA, they're coming back into the picture. Okay, so I feel like it might have just been a temporary lapse, mainly because of the holiday season. They've got things they needed to take care of. They might have stressors in their lives, and they might have, a lot of things they needed to take care of from their end. And as a result, coming into this week, if you feel like you've been kind of ghosted, or you feel like you've been reaching out and the other person is not responsive, or they're not answering your questions, or they just seem a little bit unavailable, I feel like that it's nothing personal. It's them dealing with, you know, things that they have, like responsibilities that they have to take care of. And so what I feel is, yes, there is a lot of work coming through for this week. There are a lot of things that you need to do. And I also see many of you in some type of a mentorship position as well. You could be a supervisor, you could be a mentor, you could be a tutor, you could be a teacher, you could even be like, you know, managing people underneath you, okay? And the first thing that really stood out here, I have the Three of Swords, and it's linked up with the Three of Pentacles. So this is workplace related. And I feel like there might have been some people that you were that you worked really well with, that you jived really well with, it's like the camaraderie between you and that person. I feel like it might be one person. It's almost like the two of you work together so well. There's this unspoken, you know, understanding between the two of you. You like the same things. You have the same work ethics. When you tell them to do something, you don't have to worry. And likewise, when they come and tell you to do something, they don't have to worry. So there's this really good, great sense of camaraderie and great sense of rapport between you and another person in the work situation. And I feel like somebody left and went to fly off on their own. So they might have left the work environment because there were other opportunities. Queen of Pentacles. This is somebody that sees a good opportunity, okay? They're very trustworthy, very reliable, and just incredibly, I feel like they have a really big sense of responsibility. They have great work ethics, and they're very trustworthy. And I feel like the whole concept of trust and being able to, you know, you guys are naturally very friendly. People come to you. But I also feel like with Libras, there is a little bit of an icy, I want to say interior rather than the exterior, because you guys are really friendly, very outgoing, very charming, you know. And but then there is that interior, that icy core that's disallowing people to enter. And you're like that for a reason, because you want to have that totality of a connection before you let somebody in, like the emotional connection, the trust somehow came out very strongly in the spread. Being able to trust somebody, not just on a superficial level, but like really admiring someone, trusting that you can tell them your deepest, darkest secrets, and they will never tell another person. They will never use the information against you, that they have your best interests at heart. So I feel like you had somebody like that in the work environment that you trust fully and completely. And I feel like this person has flown away because of other opportunities, other obligations, or other and I feel like it's a far away, you know, like someone has left the nest and have flown off and soared, and there's vast distances. So it's not like, you know, you can it's not like you can see them on the weekend. It's not like you can see them like next month. I feel like you have to make arrangements in order to see them, in order to speak to them again. And so there's this sense here of responsibilities in the work front piling up because somebody left and there's a vacancy, and other people have to do maybe twice the work because this person was so efficient that it's like getting 2 employees instead of 1. And now the work that is distributed, it needs to be, you know, taken care of by other people. And so there's a lot of busy energies that I'm seeing coming in. And it's also the end of the holiday season where work piles up for those of you who have been on vacation or in the office or in the work environment or in the school academic environment. It's like you're kind of hitting the ground running, okay? And finances in this spread looks really, really, really stable. So I feel many of you are spending a lot more time with like housing, decor, decoration, buying things that like splurging on things that are necessary. So if you've been eyeing like that new, dining room table, and you're just like, oh, I'll get it, I'll get it, I'll get it. I feel like you're going to furnish your house. You might even be anticipating a lot of people coming into your house, or allowing for more people to come into your home. You might have been a little bit isolated, or you might have, just gone out with friends but never allowed people to come into your home. So now you're making your home more homey. You're making your home more cozy, more welcoming, because you're expecting, your social life to pick up, which I feel like it will. And I'm also seeing some opportunistic people in the work environment, okay? Um, the ones that when the higher ups are around, they're on the best behavior. They act like they're doing so much work. And then when the higher ups are, dashing out the door, they go back to um, chit-chatting, browsing the internet, not doing the work that they're supposed to. And I also feel an element of doing, like, cutting corners, doing work the wrong way. And so that's for people in your working environment, as well as if you have children, okay, and if you're a student, by all means, please don't cut corners, because education is funny, because everything in life, I feel, takes on this energy. Whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you are shortchanging yourself by, dashing off assignments at the last minute, not studying or cramming just to pass an exam, you're not going to be able to in the long run, retain the material. And knowledge is cumulative. It builds on itself. And so, just consider how much we are paying for tuition, or for school, or for training, or for seminars, or whatever the situation might be, for even a tutor, or even paying a tutor for our child. It's still our responsibility, to follow up, to make sure the child is doing the work. It's our responsibility to understand that whatever we put in is what we're going to get out. So if we're doing like a sloppy job, and I don't sense that with a lot of Libras. You guys do things with a lot of care, but you might have other placement in your natal chart that, can create like that cutting corners type of energy. And so I feel like, you want to be cognizant of that, and you want to make sure that things are done properly, because knowledge builds on itself. Okay. So aside from that, I do see a little bit of a quarrel and conflict. Very minor. It's almost like ideological differences. It's not about infidelity or cheating, or anything like that. I just feel like conflict between you and another person. For some of you, this could be like a sister. I'm seeing a sister. For others of you, this could be like a love interest, okay? And I'm seeing Earth, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Okay, so if you have sisters with those types of sun sign, moon, rising, it's like, you guys are very opinionated, but I feel like, the way in which you project, or in which you convey your ideas, is very diplomatic. Okay, it's not forceful. It's very like tried and true. It's very rehearsed. It's very research. So you arrive at what you believe in through thorough research, and you're just going to state what you believe in, and you don't really care if people agree. You're not one to argue your point or push your agenda on other people. And that's where the Libran diplomacy is just, very highly sought after. And I do feel like this is a person that has belief system that might not be founded on facts and trial and error. They might just have like an emotional response to something. So they can tell you, oh, they feel a certain way, but they don't really have valid reasons, valid reasons. They can't really give you anything concrete, anything I want to say like scientific to corroborate the things that they believe in. So it's an emotional response, whereas from your end, you're stating facts, you're stating figures, you're using logic to back up the argument. And with them, it's not very logical. So from your perspective, this person might be a little bit emotionally sensitive or emotionally irrational when they're dealing with you. And if this is a family member, in particular a sister, they're really telling you to be patient with this person. I see like some deep-rooted, like patterns of behavior, and I see somebody who's been very isolated. And isolation basically means somebody has been spending a lot of time by themselves or cooped up in their own worldview, surrounding themselves by people that believe the same things that they believe in, that has the same hobbies, the same interests, the same, even work in the same place. And so it's really hard for them to break out of their worldview and see a different worldview, right? And I do see somebody who's so academically inclined, it could be you or them, that you're seeing things, or they're seeing things from more of like a scientific approach, and they're disregarding the reality of how things are actually playing out as you apply them to real life. So there's a huge clash. Common sense and emotional responses is what I'm sensing. Common sense dictates this, and then the other person might be going against all common sense and just be like, well, I don't care about this. I feel this way, and I feel like we should do it that way. And so there are some power dynamics, a little bit of power struggle, and not being able to see eye to eye between you and another person, okay? So keep in mind, I feel like the energy is short. It's not something that's going to taint the entire picture for the week, but I feel like it is something that is very cyclical, coming back around, as well as something that's recurring, okay? If whenever we have situations in our lives that recur, it's really important for us to recognize that it is a lesson for us to learn. And I've experienced many instances of this where if I try to avoid something, it comes back in a different form and it grows a little bit bigger in magnitude. And so try to be aware of it and try to resolve the problem as they come in. Do not shy away from conflict, Libras. Okay, do not shy away from conflicts. I feel like a lot of the times when we are in a conflictual situation with another person, our egos get the best of us. Especially as an air sign, we identify very strongly with our belief system, and somebody that doesn't believe the same things that we do, we often see it as, it's not meant to be like this, but we often see it as an attack on our character. Okay? So for example, let's say, I don't know how to, okay, so for example, you have a sister and you don't really get along with her. And you're like, I want to be a vet. I want to be a dentist, or I want to be a vet, whatever the situation is. And then she's just like, you should be a proper doctor. I feel like it's somebody who's a little bit judgmental. You should be a proper doctor. Vets are people that haven't made it successfully through med school, or, their residency, or whatever the case is. And you're just like, but I love animals, and veterinary care is, growing right now. So it's a good field to get into. And so you're speaking from your perspective. And I feel it's almost like the way, the tone, or the way that the other person tries to steer you in a different direction. It's almost like they're attacking your interests, your personal beliefs, and your likes and your own dislikes. So it's really hard for us to separate the ego from our thoughts. And keep in mind, all conflict, a lot of conflict actually, can be mitigated if we try to detach the ego from it and look at things from a little bit more of an objective standpoint, so that it doesn't rattle us, so that we can be a little bit more calmer, more collected when we are trying to refute the other person's argument. It's almost like, when we feel personally attacked. And I'm getting the conflict here. Okay, it's the dragon fighting a lion. Different species, different worldviews, different ways of doing, different instincts. But it's a situation where I feel like the dragon's going to win. So the point of this is, it's a stalemate, supposedly, because it's the Two of Swords. But there is clearly somebody with an advantage here. And so when we argue and we get into a heated debate, and you guys even when you're upset, you can think very, very lucidly, like very clearly. But I feel it's almost like it's a lot more meaningful to be a lot calmer and to reason with the other person. And, even tell them, well, that's your own personal opinion. Everyone is entitled to have their own opinion. And I like animals, so I want to be a vet. I like working and caring for animals, And then you can say, like, or why don't you be the doctor? If it seems like it's so blasé for you to say, be a proper doctor, why don't you go through med school? Why don't you, do the work? And rather than telling people. So I feel like approaching it from that standpoint would be really, it would mitigate the conflict. It would just kind of like squash everything. Okay? So I feel like someone's not fighting fair, and I feel like someone is using like emotional appeals to as their reasoning, as their primary reason to, like, as their primary argument. And either way, I feel like, it's telling you to kind of like rise above it, rise past it, or excuse me, at least looking at things from a bird's eye view and try to resolve the conflict. Okay, don't shy away from it. Resolve the conflict so that it doesn't come back. Okay. Let me see if there's anything coming into the picture. I feel like for those in coupled relationships, there might be co-parenting issues, conflict between you and a partner regarding children. And then I also feel like if you're in relationships with blended families, there's that element as well. And then I also feel, I do sense a little bit of a blast from the past here. And the blast from the past pertains to a situation that where there has been a lot of conflict between you and another person, and they could be whatever sign. You've moved away from it, and I feel like you're assessing whether or not to re-engage with this person because of the past history of conflict. Okay, so there's an element here about somebody coming in, soliciting you. Somebody who's like, oh, I've changed, here's what I'm doing with my life. Here are the ways in which I've changed. Here is me trying to make amends, trying to make things better. Okay, so there's that element. And I would say, it's water under the bridge. So I feel like this time around, just be very patient. If you are re-engaging romantically, friendship-wise, whatever the circumstance with that person, be very, very patient with this process. It's almost like there is a lot of wishful thinking that this can work out the second time around, and it can, because there's a lot of history here. We have as well the Six of Cups. But the Six of Cups is also, looking at a situation through a very childlike, idealistic lens. But I feel like it can work. Okay, just we have to do things a little bit differently. We have to be more patient, more understanding. And we have to also know the pattern of behaviors of this person. They might be a little bit emotionally irrational, but I feel like they're very caring. They're deep down, they have a good heart. They're just their logic, I feel, is very emotions based. And so recognize the pattern and recognize ways that you can fix it. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that here, Libras, and I wish you the best. Okay, take care of yourself. I'll talk to you guys soon. Next week I will do a 2 weeks reading because I might not have time. Okay, so but I'll see you guys soon. Either way, take care of yourself and enjoy your New Year's. Bye bye.